The night sky above the junkyard burned with the faint glow of 3 alien moons. Rusted metal, broken ships, and old robots lay scattered like forgotten bones of another world. The air smelled of smoke, oil, and cold rain. Amid all that silence, a strange sound echoed, not mechanical, not wind, a weak cry. It came from deep inside a pile of wrecked starships. A man named Eli Turner stopped in his tracks. He was a human scavenger, wearing a torn jacket and a lamp fixed on his head. He came here every night to find broken tech to sell for food. But tonight he found something else. Something that would change his life forever. Eli climbed over the metal hill and followed the sound. His boots sank into mud as the cold wind blew against his face. "Hello?" he called. His voice bounced back from the steel walls. No answer. Only another soft, painful sound, like a whisper of someone too weak to breathe. He moved closer, pushing aside sharp panels and hanging wires. Then he saw her. Half buried under the wreckage was a woman, or something like a woman. Her skin glowed faintly silver under the light. Her hair floated as if underwater, and her eyes, half open, reflected the moonlight like glass. She was an alien, but beautiful in a sad, broken way. Her lower body was crushed under a heavy metal beam. Hey, can you hear me?" Eli dropped to his knees. Her lips moved slowly. "Don't touch me," she whispered, her voice trembling like static. Eli looked around and no one was there. No other life signs, no family, no rescuers. Only the sound of distant thunder. "You're hurt," he said. "I can help." She shook her head weakly. "Leave me." "My family already did." Those words froze Eli. "Your family left you here?" She closed her eyes. A single silver tear slid down her cheek, glowing faintly as it hit the dirt. "They said I was useless now. Paralyzed. Broken." Eli clenched his fists. The thought made his heart ache. Humans were called cruel by aliens across the stars, yet here was proof that cruelty wasn't only human. He tried lifting the beam, but it didn't move. The alien woman's body twitched in pain. "Stop, you'll hurt yourself." "Then we'll both hurt," Eli said. His voice was firm. "I'm not leaving you here." She looked at him confused. "Why would you help a stranger?" Eli smiled sadly. "Because nobody helped me when I needed it. Maybe this time I can do it right." Rain started to fall, small cold drops that turned to mist over her glowing skin. Eli ran to his small hover truck parked nearby and grabbed a power jack and rope. His hands shook, not from fear but from anger, at the idea that anyone could throw away someone just because they were broken. He pushed the power jack under the beam and pressed the switch. The old machine whined and groaned. Slowly the metal lifted, just enough for him to pull her free. Her body was light, almost weightless, like she was made of air, but she didn't move. Eli laid her gently on a blanket in his truck. "Stay with me," he whispered as he started the engine. Her voice came faintly. "You don't understand. They will come for me." "Who?" Eli asked. "My family," she said, her tone dark now. "Not to save me, to finish what they started." Eli looked in the rear mirror. In the distance, through the storm, he saw faint blue lights, moving fast across the junkyard sky. Alien ships. "Hold on," he muttered, pressing the accelerator. The truck shot forward through the maze of metal. Behind them, the blue lights grew brighter, scanning the junkyard. Eli didn't know who this woman was, or why her family wanted her dead. But as he drove into the storm, one thing was clear. He had just made himself an enemy of something far bigger than he understood. And for the first time in years, he felt alive. Rain poured over the desert junkyard as Eli's hover truck raced through the darkness. Lightning flashed across the alien sky, revealing mountains of broken ships and twisted towers of scrap. The storm roared like a warning, but Eli didn't stop. Beside him, the alien woman lay weak and pale. Her silver skin flickered faintly like a dying star. Her eyes stayed half open, watching the rain slide across the windshield. "What's your name?" Eli asked, trying to keep her awake. She hesitated before whispering, "Lyra." "All right, Lyra, I'm Eli," he said. "We'll get you somewhere safe." "Don't close your eyes," but Lyra's voice came trembling. "There is no safe place. Not from them." Eli glanced at the rear mirror. 3 blue lights were closing in fast. Alien ships, sleek and sharp, cutting through the rain like knives. They flew low, scanning the junkyard with beams of blue light. Lyra's breathing grew shallow. They found us. Eli tightened his grip on the wheel. Then we'll make them lose us. He turned sharply, driving into a maze of scrap towers. Metal crashed as his truck scraped past old engines and rusted parts. Behind him, the ships roared, their engines echoing through the storm. A blast of blue energy struck the ground beside the truck, exploding metal into the air. Eli swerved, heart pounding. "Why are they shooting at you?" he shouted over the storm. Lyra's eyes filled with pain. "They are not strangers. They are my family." Eli's mind froze for a second. "Your family is trying to kill you?" She nodded weakly. "On my planet, weakness is a sin. I was born strong. I was a fighter, a commander in the Royal Guard. But when I lost my legs in battle, they called me defective. My brother said I was no longer one of them." Eli's chest tightened. He couldn't imagine that kind of cruelty. "So they dumped you in the junkyard to die?" "They called it mercy," Lyra said bitterly. "Our people believe the broken should be recycled into energy. To waste no life." Eli's hands shook in anger. "That's not mercy. That's murder." Another blast hit the back of his truck, throwing sparks everywhere. Lyra cried out in pain as the light grazed her arm, burning her glowing skin. Eli cursed under his breath. "Hold on." He pressed a button on the dash. The truck lifted higher, floating over the metal ground. He darted under a massive, broken freighter and switched off the lights. The world went dark, except for the faint hum of rain. The blue ships flew past, their lights sweeping the wreckage, but they didn't see him. Eli held his breath. Lyra trembled beside him, her eyes filled with fear. "Why are they still searching?" he whispered. "Because I carry something they want," Lyra said weakly. Eli turned to her. "What is it?" She hesitated. Then with shaking fingers she touched her chest, and a soft blue light glowed beneath her skin. "It's inside me. A biocore, a heart made from star energy. It was created to power ships, weapons, even worlds. But it was meant for the royal bloodline only." Eli's eyes widened. "So, you're royalty?" "I was," she said quietly, "until they took everything from me." The truth hit him like a wave. She wasn't just an abandoned alien. She was the lost princess of her world, hunted by her own bloodline. He looked out the window. The rain was slowing now. The blue ships were still searching, moving in slow circles. Eli turned to Lyra. "Then we're not going to let them have you." "Not while I'm breathing." Lyra's eyes softened. "Why do you care, human? My kind has done nothing but look down on yours." Eli smiled faintly. "Maybe that's why. Someone has to remind the universe that humans still care." For a moment, silence filled the truck, a silence full of stormlight and something fragile between them. Then the ground shook. A bright beam cut through the darkness and hit the wreck above them. Metal exploded, fire raining down. "They found us," Eli shouted. He started the engine and sped away as the freighter collapsed behind them. The alien ships dove again, firing shot after shot. The desert sky lit up with blue fire. Lyra gripped the seat, her voice trembling. "If they catch us, they'll take my core, and I'll die." "Then I guess we're not letting that happen," Eli said, his eyes blazing. "Not today." He steered toward the old mountain tunnels beyond the junkyard, dark, abandoned mines from centuries ago. As they disappeared inside the blackness, the alien ships stopped firing. They hovered above the entrance, their blue lights flickering like angry eyes. Inside the tunnel, Eli finally stopped. His heart pounded. The truck lights flickered weakly. Lyra lay still, breathing slowly. He turned toward her and said softly, "They might be family to you, Lyra. But to me, they're monsters." Lyra's voice came faintly. "And you, Eli Turner, might be the first human I've ever trusted." Outside, the storm faded, but deep in the sky above the junkyard, more alien ships began to appear. Larger, darker, and ready for war. The hunt had just begun. The tunnel was silent except for the sound of rain dripping from the rocks above. Eli parked his hover truck near a wall of glowing crystals. The light filled the cave with a soft blue shine, like a piece of another world had fallen underground. Lyra lay in the back seat, her breathing uneven. Her silver skin had lost its glow, turning pale and cold. Eli could see that whatever power kept her alive was fading. He sat beside her, holding a small heating lamp near her hands. "Stay with me, Lyra. We made it this far," he said gently. Her eyes opened a little. You shouldn't have come this deep, Eli. The tunnels are old. They might collapse. Eli smiled faintly. So what? At least we'll die together, annoying your family. Lyra gave a weak laugh, her first real smile since he found her. But it didn't last long. She touched her chest again, and blue light pulsed faintly from beneath her skin. Eli noticed how weak the glow was now. That thing inside you. It's dying too, isn't it? She nodded slowly. The biocore needs star radiation to stay alive. Without sunlight, it fades soon. Both of us will be gone. Eli leaned back, thinking fast. What if we give it power from something else? Like energy cells, maybe? She shook her head. Human energy burns dirty. It will poison me. Eli slammed his hand against the steering wheel in frustration. There's got to be a way. For a moment, the silence returned, only the soft hum of the crystals around them. Then Lyra said softly, You remind me of someone I knew. Long ago. Eli turned to her. Someone from your world? She nodded. A human scientist. He was captured after a war. Everyone saw him as weak, but he tried to teach us mercy. He said, One day your power will mean nothing if your heart forgets how to feel. She smiled faintly. I never understood him. Not until now. Eli didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on her biocore's glow, the blue heartbeat fading with every second. He knew he couldn't lose her. Not after everything they'd been through. Then he remembered something. In his bag he carried an old fusion cell, a small, dangerous battery used for ship repairs. It wasn't clean, but it was powerful. He grabbed it, holding it up. What if I control the flow? Just enough to charge you, not kill you. Lyra's eyes widened. Eli, no. It's too risky. If you misjudge the power, I'll explode. Or you will. Eli grinned. Guess we'll find out. Before she could stop him, he connected the cell to a metal wire and gently placed the other end against the glowing skin on her chest. The air filled with a low hum. Blue sparks danced across her body. Lyra gasped in pain. Her hands clenched the seat. Eli tried to steady the connection, his own fingers burning. Come on, Lyra. Stay with me. The light grew brighter, blindingly bright, and then suddenly stopped. Eli fell back, panting, his hands shaking. The fusion cell was smoking. For a moment he thought she was gone. Then he saw her chest rise, and the light inside her shined steady and strong again. Lyra opened her eyes. You did it. Eli laughed softly, tears mixing with sweat and dirt. Told you humans are stubborn, but their moment of peace didn't last. The ground rumbled, and the sound of engines echoed through the cave. Lyra's face turned pale again. They found us. Eli grabbed his blaster and stood up. Let them come. The cave entrance burst open as alien soldiers in black armor stepped inside, their weapons glowing blue. Eli counted at least 6 of them. Their leader walked forward, tall, proud, with the same silver skin as Lyra. Brother, she whispered in shock. Eli froze. That's your brother? Yes, she said, her voice trembling. Prince Kyle. Kyle's eyes were cold. Sister, you shame our bloodline. You should have accepted your fate. Eli raised his blaster. She's not going anywhere with you. Kyle smiled cruelly. A human defending royal trash? How pathetic. He lifted his hand and the soldiers aimed their weapons. Kill the man. Bring me her core, Lyra's voice broke. Kyle, please. Don't do this. But her brother didn't listen. The cave exploded with light as the first shot was fired. Eli dove behind a rock, firing back wildly. The air filled with smoke and the sound of metal hitting stone. Lyra tried to move, but her paralyzed legs wouldn't obey. She reached out her hand toward Eli, her voice weak but fierce. Eli, run! He looked back at her, breathing hard. Not without you. Kale's voice echoed through the chaos. You can't save her, human. She belongs to us. Eli gritted his teeth. Not anymore. He hit the truck's ignition remotely. The engine roared to life, its lights blinding the soldiers. Eli grabbed Lyra, pulling her close, and leaped into the driver's seat. The truck shot forward through the narrow tunnel, crashing through debris as energy blasts chased behind them. Outside, the night sky waited, in wide, stormy, and filled with danger. But Eli didn't look back, because in that moment he knew he wasn't just saving her life anymore. He was saving what was left of her soul. The night sky above the junkyard burned again, this time with fire. The alien ships circled the mountains, searching every tunnel, every shadow. Eli and Lyra hid deep inside an old mining shaft. The walls were covered with crystal dust that shimmered faintly like frozen stars. Eli was breathing hard, his hands still trembling from the fight. Lyra sat beside him, her face pale but her biocore glowing steady. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered. "You could have died." Eli gave her a tired grin. "Would have been worth it." But inside his thoughts were racing. They couldn't keep running forever. Her brother Cale had an army, ships, soldiers, scanners. And now, Cale had a reason for revenge. Outside the cave, the sound of alien engines faded into the distance. For now they were safe, but Cale's voice still echoed in Eli's mind. "Kill the man. Bring me her core." Lyra closed her eyes, leaning her head against the cold wall. "He won't stop," she said softly. "My brother always gets what he wants." Eli looked at her. "Then he's about to find out what happens when he meets someone who doesn't give up." She turned to him, her silver eyes reflecting the dim light. "You don't understand, Eli. My brother's not just a soldier, he's a commander of the Obsidian Fleet. He controls half the Royal Army. If he swore a vow against you, he'll chase you across the stars." Eli rubbed his forehead. "Great, so we've got an alien prince who hates me. What else could go wrong?" Lyra's voice was small. "He's not chasing you, Eli, he's chasing me. And anyone who helps me dies." Eli met her gaze and said quietly, "Then I'll just have to stay alive." For a moment, silence filled the cave. Then faintly, from far above, came the deep hum of Cale's ship. Meanwhile, in the orbit above the planet Prince, Cale stood in the command deck of his ship, his eyes cold and burning with fury. Through the window, the desert world below looked peaceful, but he knew his prey was still alive. A soldier approached him. "My lord, the scans show faint biocore energy readings near the northern mines. We believe your sister is hiding there." Kyle's jaw tightened. "And the human?" "Still with her." Cale's hand clenched into a fist. "Then we'll bury them both." He turned to the crew. "Prepare the thermal detonators. If she wants to hide in the dark, we'll burn the entire mountain." The soldier hesitated. "But my lord, she's your blood." Cale's glare cut him silent. "She was my sister. Now she's a thief who carries the royal heart, and no one steals from the throne." The soldier bowed quickly and left. Cale stared at the blue planet below. His voice softened, not with mercy, but with pain. "You could have lived, Lyra. You could have accepted your fate. But you chose a human." Back in the cave, Lyra suddenly gasped, pressing her chest. The biocore glowed brighter, then flickered violently. Eli rushed to her side. "What's happening?" She breathed heavily. "He's linking to me. The core is part of our family bloodline. He can sense it when I'm near. He's using the connection to track me." Eli's heart sank. "So no matter where we go, he'll find us?" She nodded weakly. "Unless we break the bond." Eli frowned. "How?" She looked at him, her expression serious. "The bond is sealed through blood. To break it, we need to replace it with yours." Eli froze. "Wait, you mean..." "Yes," Lyra said softly. "Your DNA. If I link the biocore to your life force, it will stop him from tracing me. But it will connect us. If I die, you die." Eli hesitated, staring at her glowing chest, then at his scarred hands. "Sounds fair." Lyra blinked in surprise. "You would risk your life for me?" He gave a small laugh. "Lyra, I've been alone most of my life. You're the first person who made me feel like I matter again. So yeah, I'll take that risk." Her eyes softened with something close to tears. "Then you give me your hand." Eli held it out. Lyra placed her palm against his. A spark of blue light spread between them, warm at first, then hot. Eli felt his heartbeat sync with hers. For a second, the world disappeared. Then the glow faded. "It's done," she whispered. "He can't track me now." Eli leaned back, catching his breath. "Good, because I think he's about to try anyway." Outside, the mountain shook as a thunderous explosion tore through the night. Rocks rained from the ceiling. Lyra's eyes widened. "He's bombing the mountain." Eli jumped up. "We have to move." He grabbed her in his arms and ran toward the tunnel exit as dust and fire filled the air behind them. The roar of alien engines grew louder. Cale's voice echoed across the radio frequency, cold and cruel. "Run, sister. Run as far as you can. Because when I find you, I'll take back what belongs to me." Eli looked at the burning sky and whispered, "You'll have to go through me first." The desert sky burned orange as dawn broke over the Junkyard planet. Smoke rose from the distant mountains. the place Eli and Lyra barely escaped. Eli's hover truck flew low over the wasteland, its engines coughing from damage. He kept his eyes on the horizon, where the old spaceport shimmered faintly under the rising sun. Beside him, Lyra sat wrapped in a blanket, her silver skin pale but her eyes alive again. The biocore in her chest glowed softly, beating in rhythm with Eli's pulse. They were now bound, one life shared between two beings from different worlds. "You should rest," Eli said quietly. "I can't," Lyra replied. "Kyle will not stop. The moment he lost my signal, he'll search every sector of this system." Eli grinned, trying to sound confident. "Then we'd better be off this rock before he realizes." Which way we went? The truck rattled. As they neared the broken towers of the spaceport, an old field, filled with rusted ships and half-buried cargo pods, Eli parked behind a wrecked freighter and stepped out. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of burned metal. He looked around until he found what he needed, a small, half-functional transport ship. Its wings were cracked, but its core still hummed with life. He brushed off the dust on the side panel. The name faintly read, "The Sparrow." Lyra floated beside him, supported by the hover chair he'd rigged together. "You can fly this thing?" she asked. Eli smirked. "I can make a toaster fly if I have to." Inside, the ship was old but stable. Eli began rewiring the engines while Lyra worked the control systems with her telepathic interface, a gift of her species. Her hands glowed faintly blue as she touched the console, and the dead screens flickered back to life. "Engines are online," she said softly. "But the jump drive, it's damaged. We can't go far." Eli wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Just get us into orbit. We'll figure out the rest up there." As the engines roared, dust and fire burst around them. The Sparrow lifted slowly off the ground, trembling like a bird learning to fly again. Eli gripped the controls. "Hold on." They shot upward through the thick clouds, breaking free of the planet's gravity. Below them, the junkyard shrank into a tiny brown scar on the surface. For the first time in days, Eli saw stars, endless and shining. Lyra looked out the window, tears glimmering in her eyes. "I never thought I'd see the stars again," she whispered. Eli smiled. "Welcome back to the sky." But peace didn't last long. The ship's radar started to beep, fast, sharp, urgent. Lyra's expression darkened. "It's him." Eli's heart dropped. "Kale?" "Yes," she said, staring at the radar. "He's coming. And he's not alone." 3 massive warships appeared in the distance, their black hulls reflecting the starlight like mirrors. The Obsidian fleet. Eli slammed the throttle. "Hold on." The Sparrow darted through an asteroid field, weaving between chunks of floating rock. Laser fire lit up the darkness behind them. Each blast shook the ship like thunder. "Eli," Lyra shouted. "The shields are dropping." "I know," he yelled back. "Keep that core stable." A blast grazed the wing, sending sparks everywhere. The control panels exploded in front of Eli, cutting power to half the ship. He coughed through the smoke and kept flying. "Come on, you old bird," he muttered through his teeth. Lyra closed her eyes, reaching into the ship's systems through her link. The biocore in her chest glowed brighter, too bright. "I can power the ship directly," she said. "But it will drain me." "No way," Eli snapped. "You'll die." "Then let me die for something," she said firmly. Before he could stop her, she placed her hand on the ship's energy grid. Blue light spread across the controls. The Sparrow surged forward like a shooting star, faster than any human ship could move. The Obsidian fleet tried to follow, but their sensors scrambled. One by one, their ships fell behind. Kale's voice thundered through the radio, furious and cold. "Lyra, you think you can escape me? That human won't save you. You carry the power of worlds, and it will burn you both alive." Eli growled and switched the channel off. He sure likes hearing himself talk, but Lyra didn't answer. Her head fell forward, her skin dimming. Eli caught her in his arms. "Lyra, hey, stay with me." Her voice came faintly. "The power. It's too much." The ship shuddered as the stars stretched into lines, the jump drive activating from her energy. They were being pulled through space faster than light. Then, silence. When the ship stopped, they were far from Kale's fleet. A dead zone. No planets, no signals, just the quiet hum of eternity. Eli laid Lyra gently on the floor. Her eyes opened weakly, a faint smile on her lips. "We made it?" He nodded. "Yeah, we did." She looked up at him. Then promise me something, Eli. What? If I don't survive this, don't give the core to anyone. Not humans, not my people. It's too dangerous. Eli gripped her hand tightly. You're going to survive. I didn't come this far to lose you now. But deep inside, he knew something was wrong. Her glow was fading faster than before. And far away in the darkness of space, Kale watched their signal disappear and whispered a vow to the stars. I will find you, sister, even if I have to burn every world between us. Silence filled the stars. The sparrow floated quietly in the void, half broken, half alive. Its engines were dead, its lights flickering. The hum of the air system was the only sound left. Eli sat beside Lyra, who lay on a narrow bed in the ship's medbay. Her glowing blue chest at the biocore was dimmer than ever. She looked fragile, like glass about to crack. Eli had done everything he could, patched her wounds, cleaned the burns, reconnected broken wires from her chest device, but nothing worked. The biocore was failing. He leaned forward, voice soft. You've got to hold on, Lyra, we're not done yet. She opened her eyes weakly and gave a faint smile. You keep saying that, but even stars burn out eventually. Not this one, Eli said, his voice breaking. Lyra's hand brushed his cheek. You're kind, Eli. Too kind for this galaxy. Before he could answer, the ship's sensors beeped weakly. A small light blinked on the screen and a signal. Eli rushed to the console. A ship! Someone's out there. He boosted the receiver and a voice came through. Metallic, calm, familiar. This is the research vessel Ardent Dawn. Identify yourself. Eli grabbed the mic. This is Eli Turner, human scavenger. We're stranded. I've got a wounded passenger. She's not human. Please help us. After a pause, the voice replied, We are within range. Prepare for docking. Eli's heart raced. Maybe this was it, a chance to save her. Minutes later, the Ardent Dawn appeared outside, a small but advanced science ship, glowing silver under the starlight. It docked beside the Sparrow, sealing the hatch with a hiss. Two figures stepped in. Humans. A man in a white coat and a woman carrying a scanner. The man smiled slightly. Eli Turner. I'm Dr. Reed. We picked up your distress call. You said you have an alien with you? Eli nodded quickly. She's dying. Her core's shutting down. You have to help her. Dr. Reed's eyes lit up at the sight of Lyra. Incredible. Alithari. I thought their kind was extinct. She's not a specimen, Eli snapped. She's a person. Help her. The doctor raised his hands peacefully. Of course. Bring her to our med lab. They carried Lyra carefully into the ship. The lab was clean, white, filled with strange humming machines. Lyra lay on a glowing table while Reed scanned her core. He frowned. The energy pattern is unstable. Whatever bond she created with you, it's draining her faster than I thought. Eli stepped closer. Can you fix it? Reed looked at him seriously. Maybe. But to restore her life, we'll need to transfer the energy connection back and fully. That means the bond will be broken. Eli blinked. And what happens to me? Reed hesitated. If the bond breaks, the biocore will pull back the life it shared. You'll die, Eli. The room went silent. Lyra stirred on the table. Her voice came faintly. No, he won't. I won't let him. Reed turned to her. Princess Lyra, you won't survive without this procedure. The choice is yours, her eyes filled with tears. Eli, I can't take your life. Eli knelt beside her, taking her cold hand. You're not taking it. You're saving it. If you die, everything we've done means nothing. Your world, your people, they'll keep killing anyone they call weak. You have to show them what mercy looks like. She shook her head weakly. But he smiled. You saved me the day you looked at me like I mattered. That's enough for me. Dr. Reed looked between them, uneasy. We don't have long. The core's collapsing. You have to decide now. Lyra looked into Eli's eyes, the human who had risked everything for her. Slowly she nodded. Do it, Eli squeezed her hand once. It's okay, Lyra, I'm not afraid. The machines began to hum. Blue light filled the room as Reed activated the transfer. The glow from Lyra's chest grew brighter, pulsing faster. Eli gasped as pain shot through his body. His veins glowed faintly blue, light crawling up his skin. His heart pounded harder, faster, until suddenly it stopped. Lyra cried out as the core flared, energy surging back into her chest. The machine screamed, then silence. Eli's body went still. Dr. Reed checked his pulse. Nothing. It's done, he said softly. He's gone. Lyra sat up weakly, tears falling down her glowing face. No, please. She touched his hand. The glow from her chest flickered, and suddenly a faint spark of light moved from her core to his. Eli gasped and opened his eyes. Lyra sobbed with relief. You fool. You can't even die properly. He laughed weakly. Guess your core didn't want to let me go. Dr. Reed stepped back, amazed. Impossible. You're both alive, but the link, it's permanent now. Lyra turned to him, calm but strong. Then it's fate. Outside, the stars shimmered as if listening, but far away. Hidden behind the dark clouds of space, Kyle's fleet detected a pulse, a faint trace of the same biocore energy. Kale smiled coldly. So you live, sister. Good. That means I still have time to take back what's mine. He turned to his crew. Prepare the fleet. We're going to Earth. The stars above Earth shimmered like quiet witnesses, but deep in orbit, war was coming. The Obsidian Fleet, Kale's massive armada, appeared through a rift in space. Dozens of black ships glided toward the blue planet, engines glowing like storm clouds, their weapons charged with blue fire. Prince Kale stood at the window of his command ship, his silver armor reflecting the starlight. His eyes burned with fury. There she is, he said coldly. The traitor hides among the humans. Prepare to strike. His second officer hesitated. My lord, Earth is not a war world. Billions will die. Kale's voice turned to steel. Then they'll die in the shadow of my mercy. Down on Earth, the ardent dawn had landed in a hidden valley outside a human city. The air smelled of pine and rain, but the peace felt fragile, too quiet before the storm. Eli stood outside the ship, tightening the straps of a blaster vest he'd built from scrap. His hands trembled slightly, but his eyes were steady. Inside the ship, Lyra stood by the window watching him. The bond between them pulsed softly, her biocore now connected permanently to his life. You don't have to fight them, she said gently. If I go with Kale, maybe he'll spare your world. Eli turned to her, shaking his head. No deal. You're not going back to die for monsters. She walked closer, her silver skin glowing in the morning light. This isn't your fight, Eli. This is between my family and me. Eli smiled faintly. You're my family now. Before she could speak, the sky roared. Clouds parted as Kale's ships entered the atmosphere, their engines lighting up the heavens like falling stars. Alarms blared through the ship. Dr. Reed ran in, panic on his face. They've found us. We can't run. Their signal has locked onto her core. Eli grabbed his helmet. Then we don't run. He looked at Lyra. We fight. The battle begins. The first blasts hit the valley, shaking the ground. Fire tore through the trees as Kale's soldiers descended in black armor, weapons blazing. Eli ran into the open, firing back with his blaster. Every shot echoed through the forest. He wasn't a soldier, just a scavenger, but today he fought like one. Lyra floated behind him, her core glowing brighter with each passing second. Energy rippled from her hands, forming a shield of blue light around them. Kyle landed in the center of the chaos, his armor gleaming like night itself. His eyes locked on Lyra. Enough running, he said. You will return to the throne, Bars, or you will burn with this planet. Lyra stepped forward, her voice strong. I am not your prisoner anymore. Kyle raised his weapon. You've forgotten who you are. Eli stepped between them. She remembers exactly who she is. The problem is you forgot what mercy means, Kale sneered. You think mercy is strength? Mercy is weakness. The universe bows to power. Eli looked him straight in the eye. Then maybe it's time the universe learned what power really is. He pressed a button on his wrist, and the Sparrow, still orbiting above, responded. The ship's defense cannons powered up and fired a blinding beam straight into Kyle's troops. The valley exploded with light and thunder. Lyra reached out, channeling her core. Blue waves of energy burst from her body, pushing back Kyle's soldiers. But the power burned through her. Every second hurt her more. Kale roared, charging forward, blade drawn. He struck at Eli, but Eli caught the blow, metal screeching as sparks flew. You fight like a scavenger, Kale growled. I am a scavenger, Eli said, gritting his teeth. But I don't throw people away. With a final burst of strength, Eli twisted the blade aside and fired his blaster point blank. The shot hit Kale's chest, sending him crashing back. His armor cracked, glowing blue from the impact. Lyra's light surrounded them both now, filling the air with warmth and power. The valley trembled as the biocore inside her began to overload. "Eli," she whispered. "If this continues, we'll both—" "I know," he said softly. "Then let's make it count." He took her hand. Together they focused the energy of the core upward, releasing it not as destruction, but as light. A column of blue fire shot into the sky, spreading across the atmosphere like dawn breaking over the world. The alien ships above stopped firing. Their systems froze, blinded by the energy surge. Kale looked up, eyes wide with disbelief. No, what have you done?" Lyra's voice echoed through the valley, calm, steady, powerful. "I gave them what they never understood. Mercy." The explosion that followed wasn't of death, but light. When the brilliance faded, the Obsidian fleet was gone, pulled back through the rift that had brought them. Kale's ship vanished with them, consumed by silence. Eli and Lyra lay on the ground, surrounded by smoke and glowing dust. For a moment neither moved. Then Eli coughed, laughing weakly. "Still alive?" he whispered. Lyra smiled faintly. "Still linked." He looked at her, and for the first time, the stars above Earth didn't feel cold anymore. Weeks later, reports spread across the galaxy. The Obsidian fleet destroyed by a single pulse of unknown energy. The legend of the human who saved a fallen princess traveled from world to world. In a quiet valley on Earth, Eli and Lyra watched the sunrise together. She was learning to walk again, her legs healing slowly through new technology. Eli handed her a cup of tea. "You ever think your people will forgive you?" She smiled. "Maybe not. But one day they'll remember what you taught them." He chuckled. "And what's that?" "That sometimes," she said softly, "the smallest human heart can hold the power of a star."